really proud of how our guys competed tonight against a perennial power in the Summit League and, the preseason pick to win the conference. I thought our guys really for 40 minutes went toe-to-toe and through some adversity, down 9 at half to come back and take an 8-point lead. I thought that showed a lot of resolve, a lot of toughness and togetherness. And, they've got really, really talented players. We've got, I think, really, really good players too. And I thought our guy, like they always do, that competitive joy, compete with class. The energy that our crowd brought was incredible. And while we came up a little short, I couldn't be prouder of how we competed. I think this team has come so far this year, and every game is a step, a chapter in that journey. And while the outcome's painful tonight, that's the accumulation of 65 possessions on each side of the ball. And I thought our guys, they just showed a lot of trust in one another. And the way they competed, I mean, you see it with our crowd, you see the atmosphere here. There's a lot of bright things ahead in year 3 of Division I. To play against South Dakota State like that while losing stings, I have no doubt that our guys are going to learn from this, and we're going to keep working tirelessly to improve.
Sorry, we just Marcus asking first.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Dean Spiros from the Pioneer Press. Second half was a complete different game for you guys. More aggressive, more attacking the basket. What was the mindset going into that?
Well, I don't know. I think the first half we didn't shoot it great, but I liked the shots that we were getting. In the first half, I thought was close most of the way. They had a 6-point play right near the end, and then they hit a 3, and that really was the difference. I think we were up 30-29, and maybe they ended the half on a 9 or 10-point run. So I actually at halftime, it's not like we overhauled anything. We talked about being a little bit better in a couple areas, but I thought our effort was good the first half. I thought we were a little more successful getting the ball to the basket in the second half. And they are very good defensively, and they're committed to taking away the paint. So that's not easy to do. But I probably would have told you coming into the game we were going to shoot a lot of threes because of how they defend and how difficult they make it to get into the paint. But I thought our guys got in there better, and some of that was in transition. Some of it was defensively. I thought the tempo was going, and we were able to run off rebounds and get paint touches and transition threes.
Obviously, close losses are really tough to deal with, but do you feel like there are more teaching moments and more things to get them together, come March?
Well, we always talk in film that win or lose, we want to watch the film objectively with the exact same lens, whether we would have won or lost. So tomorrow morning when we're together as a team, I don't think the tone or tenor of the film session will be much different. It's one of the reasons these guys have gotten so much better over the course of the year, that they've really trusted one another. They've embraced this process, and winning 9 of our last 10 during that time. If you watch this in film sessions, our guys are really accountable, and even when we're winning games, they're saying when, hey, I got to be better there, and their attention to detail is outstanding. So I think we're gonna, we'll respond the same way after this game, and continue to get better. And certainly March is, one of the markers how good you are in March, but it's also about just game after game after game, incremental improvement. And so far we've been, I think, really good at that, and I have no doubt we'll continue to.
Coach Jeff Wald with Fox 9, you had, I think, 4 times in the second half where you cut it to 1 before you were finally able to get the lead. Just what did you see out of your guys in that, and just the inability to finish off the game? Obviously, it's a tough loss. Great, like you said, the compete level was high. But just what did you see in that stretch of the second half?
Well, to me, that's, we talk a lot about trust and togetherness, and they, being down 9, none of our guys try to do it themselves. They trust one another that we're going to continue to work for good shots. I thought defensively we got a little more connected in the second half when you just watched the way we competed. Some of that was rebounding, some was loose balls, but I thought we made a lot of really great plays defensively. And that's an area that if you had looked at us the first 5 or 6 games this year, we probably weren't as good. If we got down 8 or 10, I don't know that we chip away the way we did tonight, and that's part of being on a team, just trusting one another, embracing our roles. And I think all our guys, the guys who play and the guys who don't, that's part of why I love coaching them, because every day they do a really, really good job of that.
John, Raheem took several hard falls tonight as he was hustling around, and the last one was probably the hardest one. He got up, he was kind of rotating his neck, it didn't almost look like he was out of it. How is he now? Is he okay?
I don't know. I can't comment on that. I'm not sure.
Were you worried about him as he was going to take those foul shots, and did you consider perhaps taking him out for an injury replacement?
Well, I mean, I don't think we necessarily decide that, and I think, I mean, it's the official's job to talk with him about is he okay, and so I think he was good to shoot them. So I guess I don't know much more there.
He was so huge for you in the second half. You just must feel so bad for him as his coach to see the game end the way it did.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I love Raheem. I don't think anybody in our locker room looks at those 2 free throws as the reason we lost. There's 130 possessions between the two, and it's not the last shot that their guy made. It's not those free throws. It's the compilation of that. And I think our guys really they don't just understand that, they live it. That our goal is to be excellent on every possession, and there's a lot we can take from this game, a lot of good, and there's things we can shore up. And Raheem was unbelievable the second half, what he did, and what he's done for us all season. I mean, these guys, all his leadership, Brooks's and Parker's, it's a blessing to coach them, and can't wait to get back out there on Saturday.
Brooks, what do you do as a player to keep your head up after you did all that work out of the hole at the end of the half there, and you work all the way back, you have the lead, and it seems like you have the game won there at the end, and they come back and steal it from you. So what do you do to keep the confidence up and keep your head up?
A good question. Obviously, as a competitor, losing a tough one like that, you always look back on plays that you would love to have back, but unfortunately that's not how the game works. That's not how life works. So as a leader of the team, I got to keep us hungry, keep us striving to get better every day. And it's a long season. We're just about halfway through, and we're not done yet. We'll have a lot more to show you guys.
Brooks, it seems like Coach Tower really leads with a very even keel type of way. Has that translated to you guys too, or is there a lot more ups and downs being the player and the leader on the team, one of the leaders?
I would say JT allows both us players on and off the court a lot of flexibility in maybe our leadership style or how we play, and everyone's different. Whether it's JT might coach one way, another assistant might coach another way. I might lead one way, and Raheem and Parker and Drake and all of our leaders on our team might lead in their own way. So I just try to do what I feel like is me. I try to stay true to myself, and I know my teammates respect me for it, and hopefully I lead them well.
What's your style then?
I try to keep a good mix of being easygoing, keeping things light, but also, when it's time to do business, it's time to do business. We need to be focused and always striving to get better every day.
Coach, what made Mayo such a tough guard today? It just seemed like whenever they needed a bucket or needed a big play, it just seemed like he was able to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, he's a great player. I mean, he made a lot of plays. I thought they did a good job at creating space for him to drive it the second half. He got to the foul line a lot. Drake fouled out, which is uncharacteristic. Drake's been an elite defender all year, and there were a lot of plays late where he got to the line and he also converted tough shots. I mean, he's a preseason player for a reason, and so hats off to him.
A question for both of you. Just talk about the winning streak and what led to that. Obviously, it could have easily been 7 in a row, a couple plays here and there. But what do you take from that, and what do you hope to continue moving forward?
I feel like JT's already touched on this when he mentioned our film sessions. Even after wins, the tone always remains consistent, and we have a quote that our program kind of lives on. It's excellence isn't an act but a habit. So just having the same mentality every day, and you'll eventually find yourself in successful situations.
Yeah, I don't think if the media reported on streaks, I don't know that we would even know necessarily. Because it really, like game after game, I can tell you every game this year we came out of, and there are certain moments that I think were pivotal and catalysts for how we've played the last 6 weeks. But it's, streaks they can be statistical anomalies, they can be the product of great play, they can be the product of your schedule. It's more about just how are we playing. And, if you go back, we had some early moments in this year early in the year where we were still trying to find ourselves, and I think we played with a toughness and togetherness really the last 11, 12 games that are indicative of what our program values and really reflect these guys' hard work. I mean, they're fun to be around every single day, and they really compete, and they love playing with one another. And when you get a team like that, your culture and your chemistry are going to take you a long ways. And so, to me, that's one of the most heartening things. While losses are really disappointing, the way they're going to come to work tomorrow is going to be the same. It really is. And that's, we talk a lot about, and I have about intrinsic motivation, but if you get people who love what they're doing and love each other, outcomes aren't going to, they may affect your mood temporarily, but they're not going to affect your excitement about coming to practice tomorrow or going to Tulsa to play Oral Roberts on Saturday.
Was there a difference, let's say you played this game last year, I felt like there was maybe that Oral Roberts game like that could have said, okay, this is, St. Thomas has arrived. If you beat South Dakota State here, I don't necessarily think one win could do that, but do you feel like there's a point now where the expectation was to win this game, and it would have been a surprise if you did, and that you're one of the top tier teams in the Summit League, whereas the past couple of years, maybe you were looking for that one win to take you over the top?
Yeah, I mean, there are some great teams in the Summit. I don't know that we view it that way, right? I think people probably look at the Marquette game as what if you had beaten a 7th-ranked team in the country.
Right.
We beat South Dakota State here last year, and I remember a friend of mine asking me when we first went Division I, he's like, how long do you think it will take before you beat one of those top teams? Will it be 10 years? Will it be 8 years? And I had no idea. So I think part of the beauty of these guys is they don't go into it thinking about should we win or what would this win mean. They go in with, I think, a fearlessness and a competitive joy that let's go out there and do the things that we can control, and let's be who we are, and let's prep for the game, and then let's see what happens. And I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it really, Brooks hit it out. Like, to be consistent, sustainable excellence at anything in life, you've got to have core values that are going to see you through the tough times, and they're going to, kind of propel you through the good times. And so while they have a really, really good team and a program that's been a perennial power in the Summit League, I think we look at every game with the same importance, frankly, because we only get, 31 opportunities guaranteed. And that, to me, is that's the beauty of it. Like, let's seize every single one of them.
Brooks, it's interesting. In this whole stretch here, the only 2 games that you guys didn't win were against a nationally ranked team on the road, and here against the Summit League favorite. Certainly, you guys have established yourselves as a certain level of ability. What kind of confidence does that give you going forward on how the rest of this league is going to go, and how the rest of the season is going to go, I should say?
That's a good question. I wouldn't say any one game gives you that confidence fully. I would say it's a culmination of not only everything you do in practice. You can see it in our own practices how much we've improved, but just the collection of maybe the streak. While it's a good thing that the sports media likes to talk about it, you can feel it when you are having success. It's not just a one-time thing. It's a culmination of everything.
Where would you say the biggest improvement from Drake has come from last year to this year?
Drake he's become definitely more vocal as a leader. He is a lockdown defender. He's maybe the quickest dude I've ever played with. And I think now he's finally been able to find himself a solid role at St. Thomas, and it's great to see. I love it. I love having him on the court next to me. I love him in the locker room as a leader. Drake Dobbs is all around good guy.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. You look today, 18 points, 2 assists, 0 turnovers. And if you look at the players he's defended this year, he's just done a stellar job. And he and Ryan Default at the point of attack, they've been outstanding. And all these guys have their roles, right? What Brooks does, and it kind of, really leads us offensively and defensively, not just his actions, but the way he communicates and knows our program, having been in it for 5 years. But it is certainly, I think it's gratifying to see Drake step into this role and emerge in this role. tough to see him fall out tonight because he's been so good at. He fights over screens as well as anybody I've ever seen without using his hands, and I think tonight was another one of those challenges. He'll have a lot more, and I know we all love having him out there, partly because of his leadership, but partly because of just the job he does. He is tireless. When you watch him on defense, he doesn't take a play off, and he just fights to get in the right spot over and over. And that doesn't show up on a stat sheet. That's not anything that shows up in the headline. You just watch him on any given possession, and you're going to say, he did it again, he did it again, he did it again. And that, that's big time and has been a huge part of our defensive success this year.
John, what do you think it says about this team that Parker didn't have a typical offensive night for him, yet you guys are right there at the end?
Yeah, I think that's probably been a hallmark of our program for a long, long time. And while last year probably Parker and Andrew and Riley scored a higher percentage of our points than typically a trio has, I think this is more it kind of embodies more of our St. Thomas teams, where I think I saw a stat that 8 different guys have led us in scoring in a game this year. And I think, to me, I love coaching this way because we have depth. We can play different ways. We have guys with different skill sets, and we don't go into a game saying we got to get this guy 15 shots. And as prolific a scorer as Parker is, he took good threes tonight. He's really expanded his game shooting the three. And, everybody on the team knew going into the game that was going to be a big part of it. Him and Brooks and Carter and Ajani being willing to take perimeter shots. But I think that's a, real progress. When you look at year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3, I think this year our defense has been markedly better, and the stats certainly bear that out. But I think if you look at our veterans like Brooks and Parker, their games continue to evolve, and we've got a lot of guys that on any given night, depending on, you look at Kendall, I don't know how many he had at halftime, but he ended up with 17, and that's not by design. We don't go into halftime saying we got to feature this guy. Just organically, it's what the game sort of allows. And these guys, where it's so fun to coach them, is they are willing to make that extra pass where they don't care. I think Brooks hit 3 shots early, and he didn't shoot a lot in the second half for no other reason than other guys were open, and that's what the game asked for. And when you have veterans like that who just make the right play, good things happen.
Last question? Thanks, guys.
Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.